Oh, we're live.
Already?
We are live.
Hello.
So don't say it.
I won't.
This is BFSlive episode 121. It is Wednesday.
Oh, 121.
Oh my God.
That's wild.
It's episode 121
On 121.
Wow.
And I'm 21. Woo!
So, wow, that's great.
Totally planned that. You're really smart, Dave.
Totally coincidental. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah, we got a viewer.
Hold on, ready for this? Brace yourself. Before we start the show, we have a sponsor.
Really?
Yes, we have a sponsor. This podcast is sponsored by the Bagel Shop by Fox's.
Great bagels. Great
yes.
shop. Great Foxes.
You can buy this tumbler at the Bagel Shop, and infinite refills for $1.
Really?
I think that
For $1?
Yeah,
That costs $1?
I think it's $35 to buy the tumbler. But if you every time you bring it to the Bagel Shop, you can refill it for $1.
That's a steal.
And they serve Joe Bean coffee, which is awesome.
It is the best coffee roaster in Rochester, I believe.
Yes. So, yeah, Jay was like, hey, take one. I'll sponsor you. I was like, all right. Jay's the owner. Cool guy.
Very cool guy.
He also told me to take a shirt and beanie, and I didn't take one. But speaking of beanies, you can get this beanie. You can get this beanie in my shop, my web store.
You can buy that beanie and then go to Fox's and buy that tumbler.
There you go.
And then you get two birds stoned at once, and you get coffee.
And our other unofficial sponsor is Ryan O'Rourke Realty.
Yeah.
Shout out Ryan. He's a realtor in the Rochester area. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, hit up O'Rourke.
And this one is also brought to you by Genesee Brewery.
We're not sponsored by them.
But we would like to be.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean I would like to be sponsored by Jenny.
And regular skate park announcements for the show. We're moving this show to a bisexual schedule. I'm sorry, bi-weekly schedule. We're going to do the show every other week. All right? Take that as a note. And and let's see. Tomorrow I'm announcing the Super Bowl contest. There'll be a BMX jam on Saturday, February 21st, Sunday, February 22nd. I'm going to Cleveland again. We're going to do like a Rochester BFS meetup takeover at Ray's Mountain Bike Park. So I'm going to announce that this coming week too, probably. And God's Love, the band from the 9-year party, is coming back to play a free show after the Super Bowl contest. And I'm planning Wrench Fest. We're bringing it back. That'll be March 14th, somewhere in mid-March. So, bunch of stuff on the horizon. We're always doing something. So,
Can't wait.
Yes, sir. So today, we're going to kind of springboard off our previous week cover. Why are there 5 pens in front of me right now? Look at this.
I don't.
It's literally
you got a lot to write down.
I do.
And some wheels to build, I guess.
Yeah, we had an episode with Scott a couple weeks ago. We talked about what we talked about. Why I do 2-minute skate park reviews, right? We talked about accessibility and sustainability, and I wanted to kind of build upon that conversation more broadly. And this week I had an interesting conversation with someone else in the action sports space who probably won't listen to this, but maybe they will, because I told them to go and listen to one of my other podcasts before we talked, and she did, and she told me that was the first podcast she ever listened to. So
Ever,
yeah. Yeah. And so we were talking about, the accessibility in action sports, right? And Scott and I, who was on the last show, we had a conversation where we actually ended up kind of disagreeing on what accessibility meant, although we haven't entirely hashed that out. So I kind of wanted to talk about that and kind of, because I don't think many people in action sports even think about that. People think, oh, it'd be great, kids riding is great, but I don't actually think about what are,
what's the barrier to entry for action sports?
What are the biggest hurdles, right? That's what I wanted to explore, and I hope the live chat can kind of chime in here, although there's no one in the chat right now. But even after the fact, if you listen to this, feel free to message me your opinion on this. Accessibility, as I would define it, is anything that's in between the kid skateboarding and the kid not skateboarding, right? Right? Think it's fair?
Yeah.
I would say skateboarding is definitely more accessible than biking because bikes are more expensive. skateboarding is more accessible than BMX because BMX actually requires a decent amount of strength, and that takes time to develop.
Yeah.
Right? You can skateboard with no arms. You can't bike without arms, right? That would, every single thing that
There's one dude that bikes with one arm. He's really good.
And there's a dude that skateboards with no legs, so there's always exceptions, right?
Yeah. However, for the most part, you need some arms and legs for both.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would argue the same for scootering. I mean, it's a lower barrier to entry, cost, and skill level wise than skateboarding and BMX. Well, then lower barrier to entry as far as cost goes for BMX, or I'm sorry, for scootering versus BMX, and easier barrier to entry skill wise for scootering versus both sports.
I would say scootering is probably more sustainable than the other action sports because the learning curve is quicker.
Mm-hmm.
It's less likely to discourage someone to stop.
Absolutely.
But scootering is definitely more. The accessibility of scootering is probably right in between skateboarding and
not skateboarding,
biking, because the cost. The cost is the biggest barrier, right? Especially now, BMX bikes have gotten so expensive. BMX is actively becoming less and less accessible because the cost is going up and up and up.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. A skateboard, man, you can still get a skateboard. I sell skateboards for $70.
That's wild.
Someone could walk in the door, get a skateboard, and they could be a skateboarder.
What's a usable scooter cost for a, I don't know, 16-year-old, 15-year-old kid?
A pretty good one's $200. You can go spend a little bit less.
But it's going to break.
Not going to break. It's just not as big, not as
Fair
dialed.
enough. Yeah.
It'd be like an entry-level BMX bike. The thing with oh man, I don't want to get too nuanced here. With bikes, every price point you go up buying a complete bike, you're actually getting a stronger, more durable bike.
Mm-hmm.
With a scooter, if you go below like 150, you're getting a less durable scooter. Once you get to about 150, they're all just as durable. They just get cooler and lighter and have some extra stuff going on.
Do kids generally still get bikes, BMX or not? You know what I mean? Because I feel like as a kid, you get a bike.
Oh, yeah, well...
So, like, if you catch it, I mean, almost every kid's going to get a bike, right? And then there might have a friend that has a BMX bike, and then they find out, oh, mom bought me the wrong bike. Or bought me a bike that works, but it's not a BMX bike. You know?
Well, what you're bringing up fundamentally gets to the area in which the person I was talking with this week, where we actually deviated on what's the biggest hurdle to action sports. And in my opinion, and I think I'm right, because I'm right about everything, just ask my wife, I think that the biggest hurdle that action sports has right now is a cultural hurdle, which is that kids don't ride. Kids don't... the screens, the video games. Like, I think if you go pre-2000... maybe pre-2004, maybe pre-2001, the big cool gift on Christmas very commonly would have been a bike.
Yeah.
But I think that was probably very much supplanted by
game systems,
Nintendo 64,
yeah.
PlayStation, Xbox, etc. That's now the big thing. And I think that's my stance, is that that's the biggest hurdle.
Absolutely. I mean, you have a device in every kid's pocket, hand, TV, whatever. Anything that uses any social media that's just like designed by people way smarter than I am to
keep you
locked into it. Like, teams of people that make more money than I'll ever see in my life.
Yeah.
Tasked with keeping eyes on whatever product they're working on.
Yeah.
It's really hard to compete with that. It's hard for adults, let alone children that grow up on it. And I think another thing with that you've brought up is that, these newer generations of kids, they it's not like I'm a skateboarder. It's like I skateboard sometimes, or I'm not.
Definitely,
It's like growing up, it was like
skater
for
drive.
me, yeah, or like at school, it was like, oh, I'm a BMX kid. That's it. I don't do sports. I don't do that stuff. You know, I don't think that's. I think you could do both. Definitely, I think there's value to that now. But in hindsight, I think there's value to that. There's always been value to it. But yeah,
I think before we get too new into the weeds here, I kind of divided it up, and that could be wrong because I just thought about this on my 10-minute walk to work. But I think there's kind of 3 pillars when it comes to action sports as far as accessibility goes, right? I feel like anything you can define as a barrier between a kid getting into the sport, it's either one is going to be a cultural thing, right? And that kind of splits 2 ways. There's the culture, the subculture, like within action sports, right? Are we inviting? Are we actively doing stuff to bring kids in, and are we welcoming them in when they show up, right? There's that inside, right? That's secondary to mainstream culture, right? And part of mainstream culture is also going to be parenting styles, right? Everything that happens in the society affects whether people think things are cool or not, whether they're dangerous, everything, right? And then the third level, or third, maybe, I don't know what you call it, degree, third broad category of accessibility would be the, measurable barriers, which would be cost, right? There would be access to infrastructure, right? There would be, as this person I was speaking with this week, there are places where it is illegal to skateboard, right? So the kids could be actively discouraged from action sports like skateboarding because if they go to the corner store to skate a curb, they're going to get harassed, right? So that's partially cultural, if the people around you think, "Oh, what are you doing, dumb kid?" and partially institutionalized barrier to action sports.
I would say, I mean, maybe you just said this too, but all of that is downstream of that first point, though, I think, where if they do find action sports and fall in love with it, none of that stuff matters after that. 15-year-old kid finds BMX skateboarding, they're going to find a way to get, to BMX. They're going to find a way to get their parents to buy them or get a job or whatever it is, to get the money for a bike or a skateboard or a scooter. And then those other environmental factors of people not wanting them to are going to matter a whole lot less. But yeah, I think that it really starts at getting them even interested in it or looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's still, that whole argument predicates on the fact that the kid already got there and got hooked on it, right? Because a lot of people, there's definitely going to be people that get into it and they're just hooked and they're not going to stop. But you could definitely go to the skate park and get vibed out by the locals and be like, I'm not, especially if you're 7,
Absolutely.
And,
yeah. I mean, people gripe about, like, they don't. I don't think they really do anymore. But people used to gripe about our scooter kids or the skate park etiquette here, and it's like we have extremely good skate park culture in Rochester at BFS, and it was from years of fostering a good scene. The one you ruined.
It's funny. I think the well, people outside of a subculture don't really understand the subculture. So people who don't skateboard or ride BMX often presume it's like this, edgy, like
scary.
It's like like face tattoos and rock and roll and like partying and whatever. And if you ride, that's not it at all, right? But they think that. I think one thing that BMX and skateboarding have going for them right now is how bad like e-bike and like wheelie bike culture is, especially, and in the mountain bike world, these like electric dirt bike things. Like there's people out there that think mountain bikes on trails is like this like horrible, dangerous, scary thing to hikers. Well, now you have dudes on Surons who could be ripping up behind you at 30 miles an hour on an electric dirt bike, and then they're like, holy shit, like that is what they feared mountain biking would be, and compared to that, like actually, it's not so bad. So the comparison there is good. And I have a lot of parents that come in here, and they tell me how their kids are like obsessed with those like e-bike Suron things, and they're expensive, and my kid wants this, and like it's dangerous, and like compared to that, actually BMX and skateboarding seems
Doesn't
pretty
look so
benign.
bad.
You know? Especially for those normies in mainstream culture who don't understand skating. You get like some guy in your local government who's like, "Oh, why would we build a skate park? That's dumb." And then they see that and they're like, "Oh, that's kind of
That's way cooler than that."
yeah, or less risk, I guess."
Yeah.
Yeah. Troy's in the chat. Sarons are dope. F hikers.
Get a bike, nerd. Damn, does he have like a channel member? Is that how he has that sick crown and the number 1 next to it?
He's probably because he comments
The most.
Yeah, I guess.
Hell yeah, Troy.
So the person I was talking to, they really think that, or at least my interpretation of the one conversation we had was that that's hilarious. They believe that the biggest barrier to overcome is an institutionalized, not accessible, like accessibility, whatever that word would be.
Inaccessibility.
The fact that there are laws against skateboarding and you get yelled at for skateboarding, and I think, and then feel free to chime in the chat for the 5 people here.
Whoa,
I think it's like a luxury. It would be a luxury to be like, oh, our biggest problem is that, or to go to the third category, which would be physical barriers. Like, if I don't think it used to be, we need skate parks, right? Because there was an excess of riders and no places to go that were created to be ridden. Now I think it's like we need to actually actively try to get more kids to ride and not sit on their phones. I think that's the bigger barrier, because like a new skate park is going to create new riders, but it's still not like it was a couple years ago.
Right. I mean, there's certainly an argument for kids aren't going to congregate at the gazebo in the middle of the town and skateboard if they're not allowed to, and they're going to get harassed. But like, you can still skateboard in your driveway, right? Like I don't know, maybe these people don't have driveways or something, but like you can do it in the street, or like there's still a spot. Like there's, I agree that is certainly a fact, can certainly be a factor, but they're not even getting into it at all.
Yeah, like if you look at it from the bigger cultural trends, right, which includes like your parents' perception of action sports, right? I use this analogy all the time. Look at the way outdoor skate parks are, and map that onto anything else, right? Say it was a basketball court. Say you were a parent and your kid really wanted to play basketball, right? But the only basketball court was 35 minutes away on the other side of, 3 towns over, other side of the city, and it's tucked in this corner, and there's grass growing through it, and it hasn't been updated in 25 years, and you're like, well, my kid really likes this, I guess I'm going to bring him here. Right? And if you lived in the town and you happen to go to the park and you did see that old, dilapidated skate park that's been sitting there out there fighting the elements for, 20 years, you're going to be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to bring my kid there. But as more towns build skate parks, and you just see a well-built, nice skate park that's next to the pickleball court, roll my eyes, the playground and everything else, that is one of the biggest hurdles in accessibility, because you see it. Like truly in an Orwellian sense, these everyday people will just see it there. It looks like it belongs there, and people will want to use it.
I remember that being sort of a talking point when, and maybe it's something you even said before, when RCP was getting built, and it's like, yeah, if you keep, putting skate parks in the cheapest, worst part of town and make it this gray blob where people are going to congregate and do bad stuff, it's always going to be that way. But if you like take care of it, make it a nice place, I mean, RCP is a great example of that. It became a very the last 10 years hasn't been terrible down there, but like it's certainly better. And as soon as all these other towns saw it, now we have a new skate park in every adjacent town.
Yeah, and anyone that's roughly our age is definitely going to have a little bit of a soft spot for like the prefab parks we grew up riding, but they didn't look great. they look kind of like mechanical and uninviting. When you see modern concrete skate parks, especially when they do the little accents of the colors and this and that, like it looks good, right?
No, it's beautiful. Especially when you do like those evergreen parks. It looks flowing and cool. It's like a nice sculpture feature kind of thing. Even like the parks that I want to ride that are deep bowls or like just scary pits in the ground next to the YMCA somewhere. Like I can understand why towns don't build that anymore. But
Dabologist in the chat said AI killed skateboarding. I will say the algorithm definitely did. I would say that, as I've talked about in the show all the time, the decentralization of action sports really was one of the big blows to skateboarding and BMX. It seemed good in the beginning, but on the outside of it, it was rough. And now, like I said, to go back to my first point, even if we had awesome skate parks, it's going to be that would be a huge pillar in our fight against the screen, the phone-based childhood. But I don't know if that's simply enough. I think action sports need to be more. The subculture needs to reach outside of its subculture to actively be more inviting.
No,
screw little kids.
I talked to Greg about the counterculture stuff a lot, and one of the things we've come up with that I think he said is like you can't have counterculture without culture. You need something to kind of push against. You need something to do, like to be the opposite of it, or like. You need to find the. You need to find those kids that need something different. You need to find those people that want something other than the norm.
Well, that raises a really, really, really interesting question, and I don't think I've ever thought about it that way, which is pretty rare for me when it comes to action sports. Shout out, Greg, on that note. And it also highlights a whole section of skateboarders who reject the modern landscape of skateboarding, and basically ask the question, like, does skateboarding and action sports have to be counterculture? Can it be both? Can it be mainstream and still have its bubble of counterculture?
I mean, I would argue skateboarding is that. It's both. I mean...
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
I would say BMX way less so. I think BMX is always on the... this is more BMX specific. I mean... With it being in the Olympics a little bit, but, like... At least... Skateboarding is its own thing. You see, like, normies, they look at skateboarding, they go, oh, that's a skateboarder. That's a thing. People do that. I don't agree with it, whatever. They see a guy in a BMX bike or a scooter, and they go, it's a bike. It's a scooter. Why are you doing that? I already know what that thing is. I know what you're supposed to do with it. Why are you doing it this way? Skateboarding always has its own, and it was first, and it had, maybe BMXers don't want to admit this, but it's like, we followed the trends of skateboarding. Skateboarding came first. It paved the way for all this action sports stuff, and it's always its own thing. All the trendy skateboard guys, like, they fashion follows skateboarding. They're like all this trendy fashion stuff and all the other adjacent things that I don't understand or care about seem to follow skateboarding.
To give a little more credit to BMX. BMX isn't just copying skateboarding; it was also copying dirt bike jumping. All right, so it's copying more than one thing. Okay,
yeah.
Don't give.
That's not to say that BMX is only copying it. Do not take that out of context. I know you're not, but like, as like, look at scootering right now. It's following the trends of skateboarding and BMX. Yeah. It's the same exact cycle.
And inliners just copying ice skaters. Yeah. Do ice skaters do
mountain bikes are doing it to BMX. They're all doing BMX tricks on mountain bikes.
Posers.
Yeah. Get a small bike. Grow up and hurt your back. Ben.
Well, dude.
No, Ben, keep doing what you're doing.
I don't know. Sitting here and thinking about it, I don't know if I don't think if you really can say skateboarding in action sports is counterculture. I don't think it's been It's certainly a subculture. I don't think it's counterculture anymore.
In skateboarding as a whole, I agree. Parts of skateboarding absolutely are still counterculture.
There's a whole subset of skateboarders who, like, hate that skateboarding went, quote, mainstream.
Yeah.
They hate the Olympics. They hate corporate sponsors. But a lot of that's just people, older guys that don't want anything to change. They want it to be the same way it's always been. And that's a great way to just, never grow your sport and to be broke forever. And obviously you can't just sell out. There's a happy medium.
Yeah, and I think that's where reaching out to the next generation of action sports enthusiasts and like understand, like, I think it is riding that happy medium. Like, I have respect for those crusty old skate and BMX dudes that are like, fuck the Olympics, fuck everything mainstream, I'm just trying to hammer jennies and smash pool coping.
Yeah,
that's sick. Keep doing your thing.
Don't smash it. Don't break.
Well, if you have trucks, you can smash it. If you have pegs,
right.
go kill yourself. But there is that medium of like, we're all old. We're getting old. A lot of these skateboard people are old. They live forever. Those skateboard guys. It's awesome.
Yeah.
They can do that shit forever. It's awesome. There has to be some sort of an olive branch out to the mainstream from what is barely, or has sects of counterculture.
Well, that's the deep skate.
Yeah, that's the deep skate.
The deep skate, yeah. Well, let me paint a picture for everyone. And I think fundamentally...
You're not drawing anything.
with this spoke in my hand. I'm going to paint a picture for you. And I think this... Before I paint this picture, I want to say, the bigger issue right now in action sports is the phone-based childhood. It's algorithmic stuff. It's probably very rapidly becoming AI content. It is safetyism and parents being scared of everything. Those are the bigger trends, right? But within action sports, we have a huge inclusivity problem, and it's totally not what you think. We're not going anywhere with like talking about definable groups and genders. The inclusivity problem we have in skateboarding is actually to new people, to beginners. And I think a lot of people hear that and go, no, we're not. Well, I'm going to paint you a picture. It's Saturday morning. It's 11 o'clock. You roll up to your local indoor skate park, and it's jam-packed full of little kids. And it is almost a ubiquitous reaction that is a terrible, bad thing, and it's annoying, and it sucks, and it ruined your day, and you hate it. That mentality is one of the pieces within the subculture of action sports that is holding it back. And you could go down some tangents and say, oh, well, the parents, oh, programming, oh, the park's not big enough. Let's put all that on the side. Every other sport I'm involved with, they're stammering and clamoring to try to create new riders. Action sports are cool, and people want to ride. But if our mentality is these people are just in the way of me having a good time, we're going to actively push away riders. If you want the price of products in action sports to come down, that means they need to sell more. Right, the demand has to go up, so then the supply can go up. Right, we can get more products, then the companies can invest in sponsoring more pros and doing more things in the sport, and it all starts by creating new riders. Right now, action sports, it seems like, at least over here, not in Southern California, is making all its money on just selling shit to 45-year-old dudes who can finally afford the reprint of the skateboard they couldn't buy when they were 19.
Or the remade barcode frame that they couldn't have.
Right? Or the whatever collaborative deck with Devo or Slayer or the Misfits or the new reprints of the Zero decks that came out when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
Like that is not sustainable. So I think we got to put our egos aside a little bit and work with the youth and be more inviting with the youth. And I will say, and I've said this 100 times, not 100 times, but 100 times just not on this podcast, I think the people that are building the outdoor parks are doing a really not great job at building well-designed, sustainable parks and advocating these towns to set up programming so that these kids have, some route to understanding like etiquette and how the skate park works. And for us here in Rochester, we have 2 new skate parks, so that's going to create a bunch of new riders, and I hear the same shit all the time about the little kids that don't know what they're doing. And I say the same thing all the time. Why don't you go say something? Tell the kid, like, he's 7 and you have a beard. He's terrified of you. Like, you can actually do a trick and you have a beard. Just, well, the mom's going to yell at me. Like, have they? Yeah. Really, though? Like, well, that mom, the mom who's sitting there on her phone should do something. How the F is the mom sitting at the skate park? She doesn't know. Like, how is she going to know? She's just trying to line up the 4 chocolate things on Candy Crush. And then they all do.
Great feeling.
It is. It is. Shout out Candy Crush.
There is play devil's advocate here. Some point to that. You could extrapolate that into the not even phone-based childhood, phone-based everyone, and moms and parents and dads, whatever. Like not being engaged enough, and then being told that their kid is not doing something correctly and getting defensive and bugging the fuck out on some old dude that's like, hey, I might actually accidentally murder your child at this skate park if you don't explain to them what skate park etiquette is. And that could be a barrier to doing that.
Well, like I said, I think...
And that being said, you should, as like, you or I at a skate park, you see some kid that's going to die or get hurt or whatever, you go, hey, this is how a skate park works. You explain to them, and that's super important. And that should be a bigger part of the culture and understanding what's going on. But I mean, like, even when I was in Montana, we were riding a really sick concrete park in Whitefish, and this old, like, we're all older, hungover BMX dudes riding this park. We're hanging out, and this older skate dude is just like skating right by us. Like, we moved to one side, and he's like yelling at our buddy's kid, and it's like, it's such a cool thing in that culture to be like, nah, fuck the bikes, screw the kids,
Yeah.
And that's like...
Those deep skate people are getting aged out.
Yeah, absolutely. I went on a little tangent, but I do really think that as you're saying, should...
We can all agree that's the most toxic element of action sports is like that OG guy, whether it be a scooter or a bike, who is like slashing towards a kid or is almost bumping into him on purpose to try to like send a point. Like, that is like the worst as it gets, and that is a very, very small minority of people that do that.
Yeah.
Devologist in the chat said we used to have skate club in school. Let me tell you a story about skate club. I put out a post almost a year ago saying I said, if you are a student or a teacher or an administrator at a school and you want to help us figure out how we can do a skate club, reach out to me. And this is before I really started doing a ton of social media stuff, and I got a ton of messages, but not really much came out of it. Everyone was like, that's a great idea. We should. I was like, cool. I got a friend of a friend who worked at one school district who got us an appointment. From posting this in like January, it took all the way until I think May. Is May or August? May? I think August, to finally get a meeting with the assistant superintendent of Fairport Schools.
The speed of bureaucracy.
Yeah. And we meet up, and it's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to just copy Ski Club. I want to have a club where the kids sign up, parents pay some amount of money to me, and the bus brings them here, and they ride. That's it. Like, just the same thing. Because Ski Club is like $600, and they go like 6 times. And I'm like, I could give them twice as much for half the price, and everyone wins, right? So then there's this back and forth. Well, we don't know how Ski Club works. I don't know how the superintendent doesn't know how the club works or what. But then they got to go find this person and track that person down. And this is exactly why I was really apprehensive to work with schools, because of the bureaucracy. So eventually they're like, oh, well, our insurance wants to know your insurance. I was like, what do you need to know about my insurance?
Speed dating for insurance?
Yeah. And I was like, well, I mean, if they're here riding, if there's no instruction, there's really no program, they just get dropped off, wouldn't it just be under my normal insurance? And they're like, yeah, it wouldn't be the school, it'd be yours, so we need to see your insurance. So I give them my insurance policy, and what I get back is that my what's the number? It's like the payout per occurrence. So
someone gets hurt, what is your insurance able to pay out?
Yeah. So my payable occurrences is lower than they want.
I was going to do the number.
Oh, yeah. How much is it?
$1 million.
And this is one of those things when different skate parks are paying vastly different numbers for insurance. It could be based on that number. Maybe it's different. So my policy, don't get any ideas. All right, guys, don't get any ideas. But my insurance policy pays out $1 million per occurrence. That's what my policy pays out. And then for sexual assault or molestation, it pays out $250,000. That's what my policy says. The school comes back to me and says, okay, if you want to work with us, then the policy needs to be a $3 million payout, not a $1 million, and the sexual assault and molestation has to be $1 million, not $250,000. And I was like, okay, I will forward that to my agent and see how much lubricant I need after they tell me what that number is going to be. And they come back and they say, okay, to raise the per occurrence number from 1 to 3 is going to cost, it was like something just over $3,000. For the other part of your
$3,000 on top of what you already pay?
Well, of what I already paid.
Yeah.
And then the other one, they were like, we need to see your anti-bullying and sexual assault policy and training protocols.
Training protocols for your whole staff?
Yeah, and something else. And I replied back to them. I was like, well,
I don't have a staff.
I don't have a staff. I'm a one-person show. The program we're doing requires no instruction. The kids just ride. And I forgot one email before that. I had to give the insurance how many riders, by what age they were, what they were riding device-wise, and how much I intended to make monetarily on these, which I have no clue what
about any of those metrics are.
So I have to just kind of like estimate kind of on the higher end, so I'm not underinsured.
Yeah.
And so I don't have an anti-bullying policy. I'm just one guy with a skate park. And so my agent said, you go to the school and ask them.
I can help you with that, Troy.
Go to the school and ask them what their anti-bullying policy is and see if you can just like take theirs and adopt it as your own. Because basically my insurance underwriter won't even quote me for the up of the whatever with the school program unless I have all this stuff.
It sounds like when they were trying to get RCP going, it was like, well, we need to know how much the land costs. So we need to know who's going to build it for how much. Like, well, two people need to give each other numbers that correlate with each other, but they can't. No one can give a number first, right?
Yeah, and this is one of the things like when I talk about creating some sort of centralized organization for action sports where all this data can be compiled. So then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, so it's standard for skate parks to have a $1 million umbrella, but it's typical if you want to work with schools is 3. Maybe Fairport Schools is different than other schools. I don't know. This is the first school. And maybe all said and done, this costs me a little bit of headache and some time on ChatGPT, and maybe it costs me extra $5,000, and then the program maybe I probably would lose money. Maybe I break even. But if I could scale that into having a different school each day of the week, but then for me it's like I'd probably have to be here an hour or two earlier each day, and all of a sudden it's like, man, is that really worth it? But I digress. But that's my story about what I've been dealing with that ongoing since August, and I think I'm gonna abandon ship on that, sadly, because of exactly the red tape and bureaucracy I thought I'd run into. I did. But yeah.
And this is why the government shouldn't have any more power.
Yeah, we should definitely have Greenland, though, I'm saying.
Only if it's green.
No, we're going to name it Red, White, and Blue Land.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
If we took it over.
It's those sad people. There's like 57,000 people there living there. They don't even know what freedom is. They've never had freedom. They probably don't have macaroni and cheese. They probably don't have handguns. Probably never seen American Gladiator or NASCAR racing.
How many they can't be having enough microplastics.
Oh, dude, we gotta way bump up their microplastics, dude.
They gotta work on their macroplastics.
Yeah, just start eating credit cards full clip. Oh my god. So, anyway,
where do we go from here?
I don't know how we get back to the conversation from that. Yes, I don't know. We're talking about accessibility in action sports.
You
Whether
could build a giant skate park in Greenland.
Yeah, it'd be cold though.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
Maybe. This is hilarious. Oh my god. Yeah, so I guess it all stemmed from the we're talking about the subculture within skateboarding not being inclusive to outsiders. And I can tell you none of the other stuff. I mean, I guess you could argue if we had as many skate parks as we had playgrounds or other public infrastructures, then that like crazy skate park overrun with little kids thing probably wouldn't be as big of a factor. But it really would only take a small amount of organization to have like Saturday mornings from 10 to noon is like my beginner session is the thing at Grease Skate Park or whatever, and it can be pretty easily to have like a sign that says and then people tell him and he tells him don't go there on Saturday mornings, they do this kid thing, it's a little bit overrun, just wait till 1 o'clock to go, right? There's things you can do, just like down in Austin, Texas in the summertime, you go to the skate park at 5 a.m. and then you're done by 7 because it's 110 degrees, right? You can be smart about it. There's ways to do it.
Yeah, I guess it's not an issue I ever run into because I just ride here, but I have a weird job, so I'm never riding on a Saturday or Sunday. Well, Sunday morning sometimes, but Friday, Saturday is not when everyone else is doing stuff or is off. I'm working, so.
But it's also on the older riders in the area to keep the younger riders in check, and I don't mean in the context of what I was just saying about the beginner riders. I'm saying like you get the 15, 16, 17-year-olds who are being dumbasses.
Yeah.
Being like, bro, listen.
You were a year ago, bud.
Yeah. Go down the trail, go into the woods, go out of sight if you're going to do that. You know, don't spray paint the ramps.
Yeah.
Just just keep it together. There's kids around. Like it doesn't take a lot.
Skate park's open late. Downtown one's open late. You can go do your stupid shit down there later.
Kyle wants to know if anyone has asked Reese what he thinks about skate park inclusivity. I don't know what you mean. Are you saying that because he's gay? He definitely is going to listen to this.
He said Reese is gay.
See, I like to go back to the conversation I had with this person, and they think that or at least what my perception of the one conversation we had was that, skateboarding being illegal in most towns is the hurdle, and like skate parks not having a lot of skate parks around is a hurdle. But I think there's pretty overwhelming data that that's not the issue, because if you look to some of the early booms of BMX and skateboarding in the early 90s and then again in the early 2000s, there was like very, very, very few skate parks, and the mainstream culture was way more hostile towards action sports. And you got messed with by cops and jocks and all that stuff. So but that's when the sports were huge. Mm-hmm. At one point in maybe 2001, 2002, Rochester had 3 indoor skate parks at one time. That's insane.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, Scuffs, Spinners, and Extremes?
Or that one in Henrietta. I mean, it was hard to piece it all together, but the Horizon Fun Effects.
That's got to be what goes here, is the skate park the Rochester skate park timeline.
It's just going to be me, the Charlie Day meme, because all those episodes we did trying to figure out what skate parks were open when, I couldn't even get a straight answer at anyone. I still have no clue.
I'm saying.
But Jason from Extremes might be coming on the podcast, so
would be very cool.
Yeah, so we'll see.
That would be very cool.
I'll brush up on all my one-liners for that one. So yeah, once upon a time, I think skateboarding is still technically illegal in downtown Rochester, and there are definitely plenty of OG people in Rochester that will tell you they got tickets for just skateboarding downtown.
Yeah.
So if your argument was those institutional barriers are what's holding back skateboarding, you'd have to explain to me why, when there was fewer skate parks and more barriers, there was more people skating back then than now. Which brings me back to the first big pillar was like Main Street. culturally, mainstream, whatever in the zeitgeist really can dictate how many kids are getting into action sports. Have you ever seen the Nike SB ad where a cop treats every other athletic discipline like criminals? I haven't seen that, but that's really funny. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think I've said it. Like, it's certainly not helping that it's illegal. However, I don't think that's the barrier to why kids aren't doing it. I don't know. We've touched on it a little bit here, but I mean, however you feel about COVID, there was a few years where everyone's framing of safety changed, of like what's safe. Sure. Like a kid who's 20 now was 16, middle of COVID, right? So there are whatever those maths. I don't know.
The math's math.
If you go back, whatever age, there's a lot of kids that grew up in a lot of really weird times where everything was terrifying. Everyone's afraid of everything. So, we just fought, as people, we all like fought this thing we couldn't even see, and it was scaring the hell out of everyone around us. So the idea that you would voluntarily jump down a set of stairs or drop it on a quarter pipe or do something inherently risky, I think is scary for a lot of parents and probably for a lot of kids that grew up in a lot of formative years in a time that really looked down on any of that stuff. And I don't think that's probably the most compelling point out of all this. That and the phone stuff. It's that combined with the phone stuff that I think really is really the issue with all this stuff.
Yeah, I think the safetyism is just part of it.
Yeah, safetyism is great.
It's definitely not helping it, but it is. I mean, in Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, he really shows pretty compelling evidence that we were on this trajectory already, and COVID just exacerbated it. And I mean, there are very few people that can speak to this as well as I can, because I'm running a business with children getting into action sports, and for many people in the skateboard or bike industry, they're looking at their sales reports and they're seeing it going down. Like I'm physically watching these people not come through the door. Wait, that doesn't make sense. I used to see these people physically come through the door, and now I don't. Right? I lost somewhere between a quarter and a third of all my traffic post COVID, and it hasn't come back. There's almost never kids at the skate park like there used to be. It's crazy, and I'm starting to see a little bit of a turn. But it is very much about the kids not being here. My beginner session on Saturday mornings used to be, and this goes back to even before BFS when we had RASP, it was always the busiest time slot of the week. There would be people waiting at the door. We were constantly doing waivers for new riders. It was like crazy. Like older riders didn't come during that time slot. Not just because they knew they couldn't, but because if you came, you'd be like, dude, I can't ride. It's all little kids, right? Now, it's a complete and utter dud. And even during the COVID boom, when everyone that was our age started riding again, Saturday mornings were still pretty much dead, aside from a bunch of 28-year-olds who are skating again for the first time in 9 years.
Yeah.
So I see it. Like it and that's one of the reasons that the skate park is just it's just drying. Action sports are going to continue to dry up. Maybe they've dried to the point where this is the baseline. Maybe they'll continue drying. But if you're not creating new riders and kids, the pool of people riding is going to continue to shrink. It's just like population collapse. Exactly the same phenomena, right? If every family has less than 2.1 children, your population is shrinking.
Especially if those 2.1 don't skateboard.
Yeah. So what do we do? What do we do about it? What do we do, guys?
I mean, I think when I don't know, that wasn't on the. I don't know if you've talked about it on the podcast, but
I just know you can't. We hang out to talk so much, so you don't know what we said in the podcast and what we said here or what we said.
Yeah, it's like when you were on, what was it, Ricky's podcast talking to Robbie Morales, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And you had asked them, I think you might have even asked Jay this, like, what are BMX brands doing to get new riders in? And none of them had an answer. No one has an answer. Like, what do you know? Back in my day, there were jams. Pros would do shop tours. They would do schools. I mean, there's there's a weird parallel that I'm sure dudes like Jay would hate, where these pros go and do school events where they set up a box jump in your gym, and for a half an hour out of your day, some washed up pros or very, very good current pros come and do backflips in your gymnasium over your school teachers and your principal and shit.
Yeah. And
it's awesome. You tell me, like, out of the 1,000 kids that are there, one of them isn't going to buy a BMX bike after that? What are brands doing? What are brands doing to get more kids like that?
Yeah, my question to the owners of those bike companies were, of your marketing budget, what percentage of it is allocated towards reaching kids who aren't already riding? The vast, vast, vast majority of kids out there, like, whether you're a skateboarder or a biker, ask yourself, what percentage of kids ride or skate? It's probably 1% or less, right?
Yeah.
You go to a random high school in any town, grab 10 kids.
Yeah. Do you skate? No.
If only one of them skates at 10%, it's probably less than 10%.
I mean, there was like 3 kids at BMX in my school.
Yeah.
Including me. Maybe 4.
So, what do we do? How do you reach kids? That's the thing. And these brands don't do it. They're so locked into the little bubble of their subcultures, which previously was good enough for them, and is drying up. So we're either this is the new normal, or, like, what I keep telling, I've said this to you, I've said this to a lot of people, the next big brand in BMX or skateboarding that really is going to take over is going to be a brand who finds a way to create new riders. How they do that, I don't know. I have some ideas. I'm doing it every day of my life. I post a video, and that's me trying to do it. That's the only, the way I think I could do it is what I have.
Yeah, you need like a Supreme style brand or something in that. Maybe not even like that. I mean, that's different because that's like tons.
Well, you nailed it by saying going to schools. I think that's huge. And you also nailed it by saying, like, some washed up pro that could throw a backflip, because Nitro Circus is still pretty big. But when you say Nitro Circus, what's the second word?
Circus.
It's a circus, right? How many kids go to a circus and they're like, I want to do that?
Maybe, I want to be an elephant rider.
Yeah, maybe one or two.
Lion tamer.
Yeah, one or two crazy people. Nitro Circus is sick and it's entertaining, but Nitro Circus is probably not creating a lot of riders.
Yeah, you see that and you're like, wow, this is a spectacle. I will never do this. I'm so glad I got to see it. Whereas somebody does a backflip 10 feet away from you over your principal, and maybe he slips a foot, maybe he falls. Yeah. He airs the quarter and hits your basketball hoop. I mean, like, I follow Morgan Wade. He does that stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, 4 or 5 foot box jump, something that looks impressive but attainable.
They're like death pedaling at a box jump on a slippery ass gymnasium floor and flipping over principals. It's great. There needs to be more of that. How else are you going to reach them other than putting it on here? You get them here.
Yeah. And as we all know, there's no way to control the algorithms, and I think the algorithms have progressed to a point where you're way more likely to see someone dying trying to grind a rail and getting really hurt rather than someone
and that falls in the other side of that coin is it falls into the circus category. You see the absolute most insane Red Bull clip. Like the Red Bull bike Instagram is just a feed of the most insane shit you've ever seen on a bike every single day.
That one where the jumps were on the train and the train was moving but he wasn't, that was absolutely
insane.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
But I mean, that's Red Bull's whole brand. It's like, oh, this guy can do this thing that no one else can? All right, here's a Red Bull and $1 million. All
right, I got something. If there's any Red Bull executives listening to this, if you think any of that is really crazy, like really just crazy, I got one for you. Try this. Keep an indoor skate park open for a decade. You have no idea. It's crazy. It's like almost never been done.
Yeah. You're a Red Bull athlete.
That's right.
Complete sidebar. There was a Red Bull video I saw the other day of a dude doing like a pull-up, like, or just hanging from a pull-up bar for 25 minutes.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Jesus Christ.
It's like probably the coolest, lamest Red Bull video.
Hard to watch. Like, really, really. I watched it on two times speed. It was only 12
Well, it was
minutes.
sped up. He was just like one hand, two hand, one hand, the other hand. It was like, it was wild. But it was like, unless you lift weights, you're probably like, what? Oh, of course you can do that.
Sometimes I
Complete
go so I have
sidebar.
to switch hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but how else? It's got to be the schools. Because the other point that you made with shop tours.
Keep telling me I'm right.
No. The other point I made about shop tours, I made this idea completely up by myself, is that you bring a bunch of pros to a shop, you're going to market it to kids that already want to see Dakota Roach do a Smith grind at your local shop. You're not going to get new kids doing that. You're going to get the same kids, and maybe they bring a friend, but like, I don't know. I found BMX through the one weirdo kid that I knew that rode BMX. He's like, come to the skate park. It's super cool. And you know what? This ties into what we said earlier, because I remember what he said to me. He was like, the skate park is super cool. If you want to learn something, all these other dudes they're like way better, and they'll like teach you how to do it. It's so cool in there. And then I snaked everyone and had no idea what I was doing, and I was really scared, but I really liked it.
Maybe I need to. Maybe it's worth trying for me to do a demo. Get like the guys who are on my team who are all pretty good riders.
Yeah.
And like pick a date and then contact some schools and be like, hey, we're gonna do like a free demo for kids on this day, and like just, you know.
Hell yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Those were some of the most fun times I've ever had, was doing demos with Rasp. We did that. I used to death pedal through it. I couldn't flip or anything. I just jump a big box.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
And it's like, I don't have, like, I have these ideas, but I don't have the time and the bandwidth left or the manpower to do it. You know, maybe if my social medias keep growing and I'm, you know, paying my rent with social media stuff, and then it's like, all right, cool, now I can, like, organize this bike jump show and then vlog it, and then we can go, you know, maybe that could happen. I would love for that to happen, but, like, I'm only one person, right? We see a lot more Daves out there who are trying to, like, do it.
Dave's not here, man.
Dave is here. Dave is always here.
Dave is always here.
Always here. Ask my wife. I am here. You thought I was actually gonna cry. It's been a while.
Since you cried? No, it hasn't. Pussy.
Oh, jeez. So,
Woo!
yeah, I just don't, man. And when we're talking about doing things that gets kids into riding, I really do mean it in a broad sense, because there are people out there. There's those deep skate types who want the facade of like hashtag support local, shop local. I'm all about it. I love the kids, but they actually only want to promote a particular narrow vision of what they think it should be. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like, I don't care whether I'd prefer they did X because I did X, but like it's way sicker if that kid's at the skate park trolling around on the scooter than like on a tablet.
Yeah.
Because it's just destroying them. Absolutely, utterly destroying their dopaminergic systems. And action sports is a great antidote to exactly that. Because many of us, I guarantee you, everyone that's listening to this is going to understand that there's something about riding that's therapeutic, especially in those teenage years when you're really angsty, and you know, maybe from like 15 through like 20, maybe later, where even if you don't even homies, you're just like riding a curb or just ollieing or just trying flat ground tricks, and you're like, you're stressed out, your parents yell at you, and they're like, I just know that if I go and do my thing, I feel better, right? And that's because skating is working on both your serotonin and your dopamine systems in a true sense, because dopamine is all your exploratory stuff. So that's like trying new tricks. thinking of new combinations, thinking of new way to do it, right? And like serotonin is like that hit from like the things you know that work. So doing the tricks you already know, serotonin. Trying to do new stuff, dopamine, right? And our lives, these devices are just screwing that up nonstop, and it's so much worse. I didn't have a smartphone until I was like in my mid-20s, so I didn't even know what it's like to have that as a teenager, and I was like angsty as shit. I can only imagine how much worse it is for kids now.
I don't know how it totally fits in now. I meant to say it earlier, but there was a Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. Where they sit in a car and they get coffee with a comedian.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And there was a clip from it where Jerry saw some kid skateboarding. He goes, when I see a kid skateboarding, I think, that kid's going to be all right. Look at him. He's trying it. He's failing. He's getting back up and he's trying again. And like, I don't know. That kind of plays into what you just said of how important that is. And also how mainstream it all got. I think. That it in a good way. Like people on balance, I think, will see someone skateboarding. It's certainly the perception of it's better than it used to be.
Yeah, I think a lot of the institutional barriers, like laws around skateboarding and stuff, I think those are gonna go away, because as all of the boomers and older people move out of local politics, which is it's gonna take so long.
Yeah.
But as more people that are my age, getting towards 40 in your 40s, get into local politics, we would have all have grown up in a high school landscape, especially in that late 90s to early 2000s, where like skateboarding and BMX were ubiquitous, right? So you're not going to be like, well, that's insane that it's illegal to ride a skateboard, right? Let's just get rid of that, right? So I think those things will fade in time, but there's still. You could have the skate parks, you could have the programming, you could have everything in your favor, but if the kids are plugged into the matrix on the phones, I mean, there's nothing we can really do. I don't know. What are we going to do, guys?
I don't know. If you had an answer right now, we probably wouldn't be doing this. You'd probably be grilling ribeyes and hanging out with your wife.
Well, I'd move to red, white, and blue land. Open a new skate park there.
With your lifted truck.
I want to drive my Ranger to Greenland.
and then to Russia.
So, I guess in conclusion, there's elements of the subculture that could be better. And there's certainly institutional barriers and access barriers that can certainly be better. But broadly speaking, on a larger cultural level, we need to let kids be kids. We need to get kids outside and in fresh air and doing stuff. Because inevitably, I think certainly, if you're the kind of kid who grew up outside, my dad said this, and the amount of people that come in here drop off, it's usually grandparents. They go, man, if they had this when I was a kid, right? Because those are the guys that are like, all right, we're going to stack this piece of plywood on this milk carton, and we're going to see who can jump the farthest.
Yep. Or we're just going to hit the milk carton with the plywood.
You hit it, and the wood just pushes the milk carton.
Oh, I just meant like take the wood and hit stuff with it. Or break the wood. Like that's like I don't know, like I think you and I have had a different than each other and way different than what the kids are now, like way different relationships to the phones because they weren't nearly as sophisticated. Like I used to play video games a lot when I was a kid, but I wouldn't even be able to do it for like more than an hour.
Well, it wasn't live. That's the difference.
It was still live, but
it was.
Yeah, I mean, there was Xbox Live when I was growing up, but I don't know. It was
with
like
the headset and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, forget what I said then.
I mean, but I wouldn't. I'm not the most athletic person, but I wouldn't be able to sit down for more than an hour or two playing video games. I'm like, I'm gonna go outside. Like I gotta go do something else. Like I couldn't do it. But these things have a grip on you now. You can't let go.
Yeah. Well, I shared that reel a while ago. I might reshare that from that clip from Huberman Lab with a guy that studies direct attention. And he was saying that there was a study he was a part of, and a 20-minute walk in nature was as effective as Ritalin to kids who were clinically diagnosed with ADHD. So we've basically taken the outside world away from the kids. It's manifesting in these behaviors, and then we're just going to medicate them for it rather than just giving the kids back what we took away.
Yeah.
But it's hard to give the kids that when we all feel like this overwhelming fear that, they're going to get hurt or they're going to get kidnapped. And that's like a much larger cultural thing that
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
I listened to a travel podcast with Ari Shafir that's awesome. And they were saying they were in, like, I think some European country, might have even been Denmark. And they were at a bar, and there was just, like, a stroller outside. They just, like, left the baby in the stroller. And they're like, aren't you worried about it? Like, wasn't somebody going to take it? And they're like, take a baby? What do you mean, take a baby? It's like, well, for my country, you make a lot of money doing that. Like, you'll leave a baby outside? It's crazy.
I would.
There's a lot of big cultural shifts. Again, counterculture can't exist without culture. Like, it's.
If I could do some suggested reading for the listeners, if you want to quell your mind on the fact that the world actually isn't that crazy and dangerous, I would read The Coddling of the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt, The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker, and Generations by Gene Twangy. And that would paint you a really
Twangy.
good... Yeah. Twangy?
I don't know what you said. I just thought it was funny sounding.
Like, we live in, like, the safest time to live ever, but we're utterly convinced it is the most dangerous time.
Absolutely.
And one of the... Free Range Kids. You should read Free Range Kids, too. I think it was the Free Range Kids book. She cites a study. They said if you left a child on a New York City street, it would take him 271 years to get kidnapped. Something like that.
Yeah.
Because people don't really kidnap children. And... something like 90% of the times it does happen.
Oh, it's like family
it's
members.
in the family.
Yeah.
It's like the stepdad or the uncle, or it's like
like
Kyle's sister who ran away and lived with their aunt or uncle. Shots fired. Sorry, Kyle.
Okay.
He's flying back to California listening to this right now.
Yeah.
In The Coddling of the American Mind, he actually traces part of it to the milk carton kids. Like, literally, like, when they started putting missing kids in the milk carton, it created this perception of, like, man, there must be a lot of missing kids. Cue DRI song, Abduction.
Abduction. Great song.
It is a great song. So, yeah, it just shows you how perception changes everything. You say something. It's like almost like, it was like we unintentionally gaslit Americans into thinking that children were getting abducted nonstop. Like, my wife's son was like, oh, what if someone steals me? I'm like, dude, they'll bring you back. They'll make it like 5 miles away, and they're like, dude, I've heard enough about trains. Where do you live?
Oh, where I picked you up? I'll bring you back. The house?
We just got to be better about just, like, letting kids be kids and trusting. Like, raise your kid well. Teach them the right stuff. And then let them, I do it with my, like, there's so much that I do with my daughter that I feel like, this is, statistically, this is fine, right? The likelihood of something bad happening is super low, but most people who saw this would think that's terrible. Like, and it's funny, like, she's not even 2, and, like, I brought her in the house and then left her in the house and then came outside to go to the car and to unload the groceries or whatever. So I'm leaving her unattended in the house for 5 minutes. I don't know, some amount of minutes. And to a lot of people, I think that they would be like, that's bad. Like, we're going to call CPS on this guy. He left a toddler unattended for 10 minutes, But
how else are people going to learn?
I mean, you got to, I mean, she's 2, but as she gets older, I'll be like, whatever. Like, I'll go to the park and be like, all right, go to the playground. I'll stay with an eye shot or whatever. You have to you have to instill confidence in them by letting them have experiences, letting them branch out. And that means you also have to, be brave and let them branch out, right? Shout out to all the parents that let their kids skateboard. Like, there's plenty of parents that come here and they're like, I don't know, this seems really dangerous, but he really wants to do it. It's like, yeah.
I mean, my dad used to just hang out at Extremes and somehow sleep. He would just sit on. They had the same sort of deck situation. He would just sit there and take a nap.
Dude, why? Your dad was the kind of dad that wouldn't leave you at the skate park. He'd hang out.
For the first year or two, yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, he would just hang out there. Just fucking take a nap under the heat lamp at the skate park.
Things never change.
Yeah. And then eventually it was like I got suspended from school one time, and he and my mom both agreed that it was a bullshit reason I got suspended, so they just took me to the skate park for the whole week.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was sick.
Hell yeah. Hear that, kids? Get suspended at school. Come to the skate park.
Yeah.
I don't open until 4, though.
Yeah, it's not going to help you.
What time Extremes open up at?
Noon.
Really?
Think so.
Who the hell was there?
Me.
Okay.
I used to be...
Who was working, Bodie?
No, I think it was this dude Frank. His kid skateboarded. He went to jail. Not the kid. The dad, like, would talk about, like, Tony has a crazy story about him. I used to... Dudes like you in prison.
Oh, God. Speaking of that, I saw Whack-A-Mole at Wegmans.
Really?
2 days ago.
How's he doing?
He looked out of his freaking mind.
Okay.
And he got into his crazy Pontiac Aztec with his crazy-looking family. How you doing, Dave?
Oh, did you recognize you?
Oh, of course he did.
Oh, what a guy. What's his real name, Tim?
I have no idea. Everyone wants to know what Blaze got suspended for that was dumb.
I don't remember what that one was.
You're not supposed to add the R, Blaze.
I used to get suspended a lot.
Yeah.
It might have been that time I talked about earlier where the kids that I immediately made friends with my freshman year were like
the worst kids.
Yeah, they were like the bad kids in school, and I'm like, oh, you guys ride bikes, you must be cool. And then they're like, hey, I left this milk in my locker for 2 weeks, and we're gonna throw it over the stairs. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm hanging out.
Sick.
And then we did that at the same time 3 days in a row, and, you know, they figured it out. They're like, hey, these idiots are going to do some stupid shit at 11:30. We're going to be there.
It's funny when you're a dumb teenager how dumb you are, and you have no clue.
Oh, they find out.
Like the kids will leave here, and they'll, like, just go. You know, I know they go outside, and they're smoking weed, and they come in, I'm like, hey, what were you guys up to? Well, we went for a walk. It's 12 degrees out. Yeah, we just needed some air. Oh.
Yeah, it smells like good air.
Where'd you walk to? We went to the gas station on the corner. Did you get anything? No, we didn't buy any snacks. We buy our snacks here. I'm like, I'm not worried about the snacks. Like, you just walked to the gas station and didn't get anything? Yeah. Okay.
My dad used to be like that because he didn't really care. He'd just be like, hey, man, air out a little more.
Yeah,
that was his line. He'd be like, I don't care what you do, just air out a little. He did. Speaking of Bovey, there was one time where it was like Taruli and Cody and like a bunch of older dudes that, well, they're probably
story
like 20.
Just smells like weed already.
Yeah, and it was when we were building ramps, and they all went outside to, you know, get high a little bit, and then Bovey came back in with them, and he started using the saw. My dad was like, no, those guys can, but you, like, you know, these guys do this every day. Don't get hurt. Like,
you know what's crazy now? I'm starting to see the inverse of it. There are kids who come here that don't smoke, and then, like, their parents will, like, hang out in their cars, and then they come in, and I'm like, God damn, dude. Like,
it's hilarious.
They're like, it's almost like there's these middle-aged dudes who, like they like bringing their kid to the skate park
so they can just get high in the parking lot and hang out. That's kind of awesome.
Oh, God.
Grown-ups tight.
I'm getting high in the skate parking lot. Wow.
All right, well, that got somewhere.
Yeah.
Figuring out the world's problems.
Jesus Christ, dude. It is funny when you talk about drug, like, culture or whatever, and like, there's, like, this weird perception old boring Karens in the suburbs have that, like, skate parks are just people doing drugs. But now that like weed is mostly legal and there's like dispensaries everywhere, like people are just like smoking weed publicly everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I bet most of the people watching this are probably from this area. So like the idea that like people are at the skate park smoking weed is now, it's like, oh, so now it's just like everywhere else.
Yeah.
Everywhere else you go now.
Yeah.
Where was I the other day? And I was inside somewhere, and I was like, God damn, really? People are getting brave with this stuff.
It's crazy.
I'm not into it. I don't do pot. Never did pot. Don't like it.
Doesn't agree with me.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of Woodward for pot. That was cool.
Narcotics.
Yeah, narcotics.
Yeah.
Shout out Tony Britt.
His son's band is going to play here on April 4th.
Sick.
Bug Day.
Bug Day.
That's the band's name.
Cool.
They paid for followers on Instagram.
They should play the Bug Jar on Bug Day.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right, so
I think we solved everything.
yeah, I think we're good. I think thumbs up, green light for the Greenland thing.
I give it one of these thumbs. And
You're going halfway.
I'm
on
going
Greenland?
half. I'm going half on Greenland. Yeah.
All right, come on, guys. We got 7 viewers. Let's see.
If they give it to us, it's a thumbs up. If we got to do something about it, if we got to, be scary, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't want Greenland.
Why don't we just put like a bunch of military bases there and then call it not ours? They can have it, but like, we're going to have a bunch of bases there. Why don't we just do that? Put the bases on the oil sites, and then everyone wins except Greenland.
See, so imagine you were from like Puerto Rico or one of these other American, what do they call them? American
territories,
and then all of a sudden Greenland gets to become a state and they got snubbed. I'd be butthurt.
Yeah. I like Puerto Rico.
Is it America Samoa or something? There's a couple of them. I don't know. It's not a geography podcast.
Could be. When you get the map of the skate parks.
Yeah. All right, guys. Accessibility in skate parks. That was the topic. I think
I do like
hammered it
on that last the every year.
Well, for geopolitical reasons, it's really good with proximity to Russia.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back on skate parks.
Back on skate parks.
Okay.
Every year around Christmas, somebody makes that post that's like, hey, there's going to be a bunch of new kids at your skate park after Christmas. They just got a bike, they just got a skateboard, they just got a scooter. Make sure you be nice to those kids.
Yeah, that's the future.
And that's the only time I see that. And like, I don't think I see like crusty old skateboard dudes or even BMX dudes posting it, but I do see enough old heads posting it that I feel like that should be like not just a Christmas time sentiment or holiday,
yeah, of course.
that does more than I think anyone would give it credit for.
Yeah, there needs to be like a critical mass, because there'll be people. If I made a video about this, and I'm going to one day, there's going to be people who go, "Hey, I do this." I'm like, I'm not talking about you. You're the minority. Basically, like all things cultural, we need to make it so apparent that this is the way you should be, that when kids get into riding, they understand like that's the way you should be. The same way, if you go to a skate park, a public outdoor park, and it's like really nice and clean and maintained, and not just because it's been built 2 years ago, it usually means because the older alpha skateheads or bikers or whoever are there are actively being like, yo, pick up that, put it in the garbage, right? Culturally, it makes a big difference what emphasis people put on, right? And you go to the skate parks where everyone's really hostile towards like whatever bikers or this or that. The people who skate there learn like, oh, that's the way I'm supposed to act here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of the good people who are, helping little kids and doing all that stuff and trying to actually grow the sport, just keep doing what you're doing.
Hell yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Because let me quote Alan when he was on the show.
Yeah.
He says, "It's a pizza, right? Are you coming in and making the pizza bigger, or are you just showing up, eating your slice, and leaving? Right?
That's a good one.
Right? You could do both, right? There's times you could do this, times you do that. We need the bigger the pizza is, the more of us that can eat.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, it's simple, and everyone loves pizza.
Pizza's good.
Yeah, it's good, just not in Rochester.
Yeah.
It's good in New Jersey. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening. Feel free. Drop me a comment. Like this, I think this is an episode topic that is definitely going to come up a lot because I'm really, really, really passionate about this. It's literally the goal of my channels. I'm trying to be, I don't want it to really be me, but it'll have to be me. But I want Breaking Free. Like, I like that I do all this content, and there's not really much emphasis on my name. You know? It's not like Dave or Narench. It's just like Breaking Free guy. I want Breaking Free to get to the point where, like, it's on par with, like, a BAM or a Sheckler or a Deer Deck. I want to be that. I want this to be that big in action sports so I can have that much sway for all of the right stuff, or at least the stuff I believe in, which I believe to be the right stuff. So we can, you know, actually make action sports accessible and sustainable and here for everyone.
Hell yeah.
So everyone's opinion on this really, really, I do value it. I want to hear, because there was like 2 or 3 things you said tonight that I like, oh shit, I never really thought about it quite like this. And every little piece, it's like this crazy puzzle. I don't even know what the puzzle's going to be at the end. Just putting all these pieces together, trying to figure out, like, get the vision together. There's always good ideas. So let me know what you think about what hurdles we have for the accessibility of action sports.
Amen.
Yes. It's pretty good. Hour and 22 minutes. I want to do an hour and a half.
Hell yeah.
I believe in Breaking Free. That's where the name came from. Actually, I had a comment. It's like, you should talk about that. I was like, I'll one day do a video about why it's called Breaking Free. But that's kind of the vibe. It's funny because I bet you 4 of the 5 people that are watching right now were here before we started the show, right? Because Ryan's in the chat and Troy's in the chat, and I know Ben's in the chat, laying in bed naked. And
God, I hope so.
What was the one time we like got him triggered enough that he switched from his TV to his phone so he can comment in the live chat? Yeah, that's, you know, it's a good show.
That's a good one.
Well, guys, thank you very much. Again, we're moving the show to a bi-weekly schedule, give or take. I do have a guest for next week, so I might be here next week. It is someone who is formerly the president of IMBA, International Mountain Bike Association.
That's cool.
So I'm still not entirely sure if it's going to work out, but that should be pretty cool. And I've been in talks with a lot of people, but it's like it falls through. I talked the guy at Charm City Skate Park down in Baltimore.
Sure.
They've been around for like 30 years. They're epic. They're like us. They've been around forever. Absolutely forever. We've been trying to touch base for a while. Haven't been able to make it work, but I really want to get them on. Dave Thomas, who owns Joyride 150 in Toronto. Been trying to work it out with him. Another guy who's trying to open a skate park in New Zealand. The guy who owns Slam Factory skate park in Australia. There are so many people who I've been like playing tag with, trying to coordinate dates to make the show work. And it doesn't always happen because I'm also posting videos and watching my daughter and building ramps and everything else under the sun. But it's all worth it for all 5 concurrent viewers. 45 total. I want to do an experiment where we stream the show vertically, because the algorithm on TikTok, on YouTube, if you stream live horizontally versus vertically, it's 2 totally different algorithms. And there's been 3 times I've live streamed working on ramps and got over 10,000 viewers. So
all right.
Maybe we'll try that sometimes.
Cool.
Thank you everyone for watching. Blaze, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
It's the first time I said
I was here anyway.
You were here everywhere. I was going to do this alone unless someone jumped in. So, hey, and if anyone wants to be on the show, just say, hey, can I be on a show? There are plenty of things I want to do a show for that I just need someone here to be a buffer for and look pretty.
I didn't do that part. I tried.
Yeah. He tried so hard and got so far.
In the end,
Didn't even matter.
2 empty Jennies.
That's right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Smash the like button, share it with your friends. Join us on Patreon. You know, all that good, fun stuff. Patreon's a big one. We're up to like $3,700 a month on Patreon right now, which is really,
give Dave your
awesome.
money. He
Oh,
needs
Ben
it.
Tripp in the chat.
Oh, you need the fucking.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? I dropped that in the video the other day. Cool. Big stuff coming up. Really excited for Ray's Cleveland BFS takeover.
Thanks.
Excited for all of it. I have a great life. I love everyone. I love hanging out at the skate park. This is the funnest time I've had running this business for 10 years. So, y'all keep grinding. What, Ryan? What now? What now?
Hurry up. I got to pee, dude.
Yeah, hurry up. We got to end the show. We can't just say what and not tell us what.
What? Oh, is it that Ben's here?
Oh, he's saying what? That checks out. All right, cool.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Godspeed. Keep grinding. You know the deal.